another week round up. So the end of the second week of the UK lockdown, we've been actually working from home now for nearly 2.5 weeks. It seems like a lifetime already, but this week has been tough, really tough. We've had to make some hard decisions as a business this week. We've had to let go of some friends, and they really are friends. But as a business, we've got to do what we've got to do. We're looking after the people financially through this hard time. We've had to do some furloughs, but sometimes things like this happen for a reason, and I'm a big believer in that in my own life anyway. But it wasn't easy. It's quite easy to say the words and give people advice and say, oh yeah, you got to do what you got to do, look after the business, you got to look after your staff, you got to look after your people, you got to make the hard decision. But actually actioning it and actually having the conversation and letting people know that you're probably not coming back, that was really tough on me emotionally. I kind of give this hard exterior sometimes, particularly when I'm working, but in all honesty, I do care. I do really care about the people that we hire and the people I deal with just on a day-to-day. I think this week the reality has been kicking in. We are doing what we can still, but the conversations always go the same way, right? Like everyone's saying what's going to happen, how long it's going to go on for, and no one has the answer, do they? Which is quite stressful for a lot of people, including myself. But there's been a lot of good that comes out of this as well. We're hosting a webinar next week on how to prepare for a video interview. We've got some guest speakers that are going to be on that on Wednesday. So you've got to sign up for that if you're interested. That's Wednesday the 8th of April at 12 o'clock GMT. My brother Ben's going to be hosting a bit of a guide, a bit of a how-to, a live Q&A on video interviewing. I think the one big question that I've got still is that it's all good and well doing the video interview, but how confident would you feel as a candidate or as a client actually onboarding someone? Say if you're a candidate, you've been working for somewhere for a couple of years, would you actually leave just by doing a video? Is that a thing? I suppose it depends on your motivation, right? Like if you're keen to leave wherever you're actually currently employed, or if you're unemployed, maybe the risk is lower. But if you're leaving for a better opportunity, say you've been headhunted, but you're relatively happy with where you're at, but this opportunity you're going for is better in whatever way you think, is it going to give you enough confidence to virtually see someone for a couple of video interviews, a couple of hours, to make an educated decision on whether or not the culture's right, the people are right? I don't know, but we're gonna explore that next Wednesday. We're gonna ask people that have hired through that medium and have candidates who have actually accepted jobs through video as well. So we're gonna hear it directly from the horse's mouth, which I think is gonna be really interesting. So watch out for that. That's what I've really learned this week as well, is that, recruitment is one of those funny games if you're in it, that you kind of get tangled up in the placements and the sales side of it, and you kind of forget that beyond it there is human beings and they have thoughts, emotions and feelings, and just go outside getting a job. It's got to be up there as one of the most stressful things to do as far as moving house is concerned. And personally, I've had a mare with that this week. I was supposed to move on Wednesday, and that's now not happening. Well, no one knows. It's going to be maybe another couple of weeks, could be a couple of months. We have no idea of when that's going to happen. And if anyone knows me listening to this, they know how hard it's been for us to physically move house. It's taken us nearly 2 years. It's just so irritating. Like it must be of a lot of things, getting this far to this point where we're ready to move. We've got boxes just out of shot here, ready to go to the new house, and something like the coronavirus comes along and we're stuck here for another however long. As a human, I'm not very patient, so that's been taxing. But the family's good, we're healthy, we are looking after one another. I'm learning so much more in terms of my own self-development and my own being. It has allowed me to read though. Wow, me reading's quite a big thing as well. But you know what? I think I'm finding the more every day this goes on, the society we lived in prior to this outbreak and prior to this lockdown has made me realise that I think we're just greedy as like beings, and I think we got caught up in our own self-worth and our own kind of vanity, if it were. But the odd thing is, I don't care about any of that anymore. I care about my health, I care about my family, I care about learning more. I want to explore a little bit more about what I actually understand out in the world, rather than just being fed a load of crap that you see online. And that's quite cool. I like that a lot. Not spending hardly any money for a change. I have a whole different value, and in such a short period of time. And maybe it's because, you know, you're being told not to go out and you can't really buy much anyway. You can't go on holiday and you can't do this and you can't do that. So there's nothing really to spend money on apart from food and maybe some apps for your phone and some computer games. So yeah. But I say that, I still did book a holiday. They're still taking bookings. We had a family holiday booked in June. We've paid for it now, but I have no idea if we're going. So it's one of those weird things. You know, it's like you book a holiday, you get excited and you kind of go through the motions of, right, I need to get like beach ready and to get these new clothes or these new shoes or these new sunglasses or whatever it may be. But we paid for it the other week and I'm not feeling any of that. All I'm feeling is that we may go, we may not. I'll probably get a refund. Hope I get a refund. Yeah, that's another thing as well. Like, you know, there's been a lot of kind of things cancelled, isn't there? A lot of like public events been cancelled, flights been grounded to now look after or convert into a hospital like Birmingham. That's fantastic. But you know, the knock-on effect it has if you're quite a organised person, and I've never really have been, but I made like a vow last year that I would be more organised with taking time off, ironically. So I said to myself this year, I'm going to make sure I book to see my parents. Both my mum and my dad separately live in Spain. I made sure that I kind of booked time out in advance to go on holiday and spend more time with the kids and some more time with my family. So who knows where this is going to go, but week 2, feeling fine. It's probably the best way to say it. It's been a tough week though. It's been a real tough week, and I think that's really been the challenge for me personally. Being a business owner is not easy at the best of times, but when you've got to make the tough decisions, it makes it a lot harder. And you kind of wish sometimes you were just employed and someone else was looking after this stuff for you. But in all honesty, we're going to come out of this a lot stronger. I've got a great team around me. I really do. And I know that with a little bit of kind of thought and a bit of research, when the wind changes again, we'll come out of this a lot stronger. We'll have a fantastic team that will grow again. Our strategy hasn't changed. Our kind of thought process hasn't changed. My passion and my motivation hasn't changed to do this job. So they're all positives. But it's just strange. Today is actually our end of quarter, right? So we've done 3 months. We've done very well as a business. But we usually celebrate this, and we'd usually go down the pub, or we would be taking the guys and girls out somewhere just to celebrate a good quarter. A lot of good hard work went into this quarter, January, February and March. And in some weird way, I can't believe it's only been 12 weeks since Christmas. Doesn't seem long enough. It feels like we are miles away from 2019, but in actual reality, it's the 3rd of April. It's not that far. We're not that far in, but it just feels like with everything gone on, it's gone so slow. But today we are sending pizzas out to everybody, the whole team, and we're going to do a countdown session at 4 o'clock today. But we're just trying to keep everyone's spirits up. We're just trying to come together as best we can, as virtually as we possibly can. So I'm going to sign off with that. It's been a tough week, is all I can really say. We've got a lot of good plans. We've got a lot of good strategy that we're putting in place. I think everyone's doing a little bit of self-development in their own right, or just taking this time to reset, which I think that's what the planet's doing anyway. The planet is telling us just to take a moment and take stock of what's important, and I love that. So I think I'll just sign off by saying what everyone else is saying, but it is God's honest truth. You've got to stay safe. Don't go out unless it's really necessary. I'm fortunate enough to say that no one immediately around me has died because of this, but you're seeing it every day and it's getting worse and worse. I'm not a overly cautious person by nature, but the severity of this is big and we need to take stock of that. And just because you can't see it on your doorstep does not mean it's not happening. So listen to the guidelines, listen to the advice you are being given, Stay safe and stay healthy. And I'll catch up with you next week.